Whoa, we were back for some Bleach Soul Resonance, and because we're sort of winding down on Bleach's campaign, or Gein's campaign, I should say, I did want to do a bit of a recap on where my account is now that I've hit post 70 and what I'm doing daily, because obviously there's not so much more to do that, you know, I need to be on every day grinding all of my actual, stamina away. Instead, I'm sort of stockpiling for Rangiku. Look at that pig running around in the background. I'm stockpiling my resources for Rangiku so that when she's out, I can just raise her, and I'm not wondering where all my odds and ends are, and I got to use a bunch of Nourishers that I don't want to use. So you can see right here, I'm up to 7. They gave, again, 5 for when I reached level 70. And then I think they gave 2 more last night, so that's where the 7 came from. I think that math is adding up. I mean, obviously I know that's 7, but I believe that's where they came from. 5 from reaching level 70, and then 2 from the maintenance last night. But one of the questions I've been getting quite a bit, and sorry if you message me on Bleach Soul Resonance. It used to be a thing where in here my little friends list would like ding red whenever anyone messaged me, and then I'd be able to be like, hey, I appreciate, that you're watching the vids and stuff like that, and I'd be able to respond. But for some reason lately I have to go like actually into the world button here and click friends, and it means that a lot of time when I get on to just like quickly do my dailies and record, I end up missing things. So sorry if it's delayed. I do appreciate y'all. I do appreciate everyone, showing love and, messaging. I try to help people who come asking for assistance with their character. So one in particular is obviously I am free to play. And so, I think a lot of people, when they make their account, they're like, well, you have 34,000 power. I could probably get to that power too, right? It's not impossible for you to imitate my characters because we're playing the same. Maybe some of you are low spending and you got more resources than me, right? So you should be able to get your Gein or your Aizen or whatever to the same level, right? Now that we've sort of had time, it looks like 34,000 is really the benchmark, it feels like, if you have both the stamp and the weapon. And 34,000 feels good. I mean, you can see Aizen and Gein essentially having the same exact power level, while my stats are really good as well. So let's just go through them really quickly, and then we'll talk about why I chose them. So one of the things I've been seeing a lot is that people just kind of don't know like where the breakpoints are. I think with Gein, it can be a little hard to tell, right? Because ailment damage bonus is not going to be the most obvious source of power. One thing I told them is that just try to get to this bond level. Like, if you're going to use this bond, try to get to 150%. If you can't get to 150%, you might want to consider a different bond. Maybe you have more crit, you could use this one. Maybe you have, you want to use one of these. But I would say that trying to get to this bond effect, this 150%, is optimal to me. Now, I can't say I know for sure that, like, oh, this is like just doing more than having crit or crit damage. I haven't run the calculations. We're still a free to play channel here. I don't have all the gear to be switching around and all the gear to be raising and the con to raise every piece that I need to do big tests. But one thing I noticed really is that the character started doing a lot of damage once I was at about 3.7k, which is what I told someone. 3.7k felt very nice for Gein. It's when I started really clearing stuff. I had cleared, when you can go back, you can look, I showed my stats during the 15-3 run. I'm pretty sure I was at about 3.7k actual attack when I cleared that, right? So I think that's a big thing. Remember that one of the nice things about gear is they give you something to work at, right? I think that's like, regardless of what anyone says, gear being a sort of limiting factor means that it usually means they can make characters pretty strong and pretty usable, because the caveat is that you'll need the gear anyway. So 46% crit rate in reality because of my weapon stamp, 129% crit damage. I will say you will almost, I feel like, never see the result of the crit damage I felt like make. At most, my Gein's ultimate, when it crits, I believe hits for about 1.6 million, maybe 2 on some bosses. And that does feel good. Like, it doesn't feel like I need more. But, you know, that's either here or there. Like I said, I'm not someone who's doing all the math. I'm just going on vibes and feel. If I can clear the content, though, obviously something is working. 187% ailment damage is where I land at. This has felt good. This has felt very strong. I would say that the combination of the attack, the 4,000 attack, and the almost 200% ailment damage has been what makes my Gin feel the best. Let's look at the pieces just so you can sort of suss out, like, what are you looking for. So this piece I would not say is particularly great. It did hit defense, which is not good, but it does have 3 stats as well as a duped stat in the attack percents that are good, so I can't complain too much. This piece is very good. If you're someone farming gear, this is an optimal piece of gear, I would personally say. Crit damage 64%, plus 15 is 79%, crazy. Attack percent 10%, or attack percent at 10%, and crit rate at 11% essentially covers a lot of my what ails me. And I could actually add 4 more percent to my total crit rate, giving me up to 50% flatly if I decide to ever 6-star this piece of gear. Mocking Visage 3 has 80% ailment damage, another 38% right here, for a total of 118%, if I'm not doing quick math. I think that's right. Ultimate charge rate 9%, crit rate 7%, and attack 7.5%. This is a very good piece of gear, I'm not gonna lie. I think this is my most hard to sort of compare gear piece. Gear are Restrain, not the best one. Attacks have a chance to reduce the enemy's all type resistance by 3.6%. That just feels okay. I would much rather have had this one, which has increased the ultimate damage by 22.5%. But I mean, this was also a great piece of gear, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Gin has gotten pretty lucky in terms of my gear pieces. So though maybe it's a case like Blue Lock where, you know, because I'm farming Gin's gear pieces, because I'm solely focused on Gin, I've put myself in a position to get lucky. But yeah, with all of that concluded, I know this is a video I've made before. Quick recap, because people were asking. I wouldn't have done this video if people weren't asking. But that is my Gin. That is a vague bar you can use. I try to, like I said, I try to respond, try to help people out. You can add me if you ever see my player code. You can add me. It's right here. I've said it before. Like, I'm not really stingy with my ads. If you're not on for a while, I'll probably clear you from my list, but you can just as easily re-add me, and it's not a problem at all. If you decide to re-roll your account, you can re-add me, blah, blah, blah. It's I don't really look at who I'm getting rid of. I just try to keep it clean, try to weed out people who haven't been on in a week, haven't been on in 10 days, etc. You know, I'm not telling people that they have to play gacha, so it's fine if you decide, hey, this game's not really for me, right? Or I want to take a break from this game. I'll come back when, you know, Okieta drops or something. It's fine. What have I been doing with my stamina? If you're like me and your Gin is finished, and remember, I say all the time that Gin are characters for free-to-play people who don't have dupes, who don't have this or that, tend to finish out around 25,000 if you don't have the weapon, to 30,000 if you do have the weapon, 34,000 now if you do have the core stamp. That seems to be a pretty fast and loose guide to like when these characters finish. Right now, I'm picking up a bunch of leveling mats because Rangiku is obviously going to take that. I believe I have enough ascension mats for her. Enough ascension mats that I don't need to worry about it. It's not ascension mats. I have enough of the academy training. Yeah, this, so that I can start leveling up her skills once I've got her. But yeah, I need woefully like a lot more. So we're going to continue to sort of just go in here and grab thrust essence because we need to actually level her up. I only want her at level 70-ish, like most supports at most. So I'm not really looking to like give her everything, because this is still stamina I could be using for something else, right? I could be doing more gear. I could be getting more stamp ascension, stuff like that. So I'm not looking to over farm that. So for now, I've just been working on my weapon and character experience because I just don't have enough. These are some of the bigger sinks. Con is looking okay at this point. I've spent a few days just pumping Con, got it up to 900,000. Boy, does Con ever just like disappear when you don't look at it for long enough, man. For now though, since I am on, I think I do need this, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab a lot of this. And actually, we're gonna do a half seat, so we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna come over here, and we're gonna go halfsies on it, grab some of this. There we go. That should give us more than enough to at least get her partially raised the moment she is released to us, which should be in 2 days as of dropping this video, which is cool. But if you want to know, like, what does my daily look like, if I'm literally just logging into the game to like wrap up, that's what my dailies look like. You know, I don't overthink it. I don't spend a lot of time just on you know, grinding away at stuff that doesn't matter. Did I get a placement? Have I maintained any of my placements rather? Let's see. Ooh, we were in the top 100 for a while, but it looks like we got knocked out finally. Not bad. Let's see how close we are. We are not that far away, honestly. We're not that far away. I bet there are some that we could have dunked that would have got us there, because we placed pretty well. We did pretty well on most of these, so it's pretty minor, but not too bad. I do need to finish up more of these with Byakuya and such. I've just it's scary doing, man. It's scary doing. That strike team is just not there. I am sort of sad, because obviously I want Kenpachi, but Grimjaw definitely would have helped round out this strike team. It's not that Yoruichi isn't doing enough, but I think numerically, you know, she's just gonna be lackluster compared to, you know, getting like a Grimjaw. You know, Grimjaw is gonna hit for like, you know, I bet 2000% of attack percent or something with his ultimates, things like that. So it's gonna feel a lot better to use that character. But, you know, we'll see in time. Hopefully, like the video from yesterday, Kenpachi is next, because that is my GOAT. And he is a character I've been waiting on the longest. He's a character that is going to be the most fun to me, because we finally got him. Let's stand next to Shiba here. What's up, Shiba? He's a character that we've been standing next to the longest, or like waiting for the longest for me. In my case, we are sort of you know, biding our time, and let's go hang out next to our boy and waiting for that to like come to fruition. Look at Ganju, dude. I remember when people thought Ganju was like coming like soon, dog. Ganju was like, I don't know what, Ganju had like shooters, didn't he? They was like, Ganju's coming. He's coming right after release. They're getting that support. That's really funny to me. But yeah, Kenpachi is going to be really fun when he does drop in 6 days, I think, like that. We're not that far off. How are my Jade doing? 17,000 total Jade currently. I wonder if there's something I'm missing in terms of, I don't think there is. So that should be accurate. It should be like 7,000. Which I think that makes sense. Right? Maybe I took like a 3,000 loss. I did see a Giku video where he said that we'd gotten about 13,600, and I haven't missed any of the content. So I'm sure that's accurate. I'm sure like they're keeping track of it in the Discord and everything. So I'm sure that's accurate. But honestly, at this point, I don't fully remember all of the stones I actually spent for this game. Like in terms of like all the stones I fully spent during that banner. So like I said, I'm sure that's accurate. Maybe it's because I've also got this to clear, and then the painted path gives like recurring. That could be one. We'll see though. But yeah, no more yapping. This video is long enough. Hopefully that was insightful. If you needed help with your Gin, like I said, I wanted to do a recap because Gin is finished. I've said it before. Once characters get to around 30,000 when you're free to play, I think your character's finished, and they'll get bumped when you get dupes and stuff. But I wouldn't really expect dupes for a while. Once the standard banner gets like updated, and we can actually look at that as a final point. I have 65 tickets on the standard banner so far. I'm saving them. I have 8 on the stamp ticket so far. I'm not getting Ikakus. There's no reason to. I just don't use them. I'd rather just use Gin every single time. But I'm hanging out, man. Once we get standard banner update at some point, presumably, because otherwise this banner has no value, the tickets have no value, and thus no one will actually purchase them, and thus no one will actually, you know, sort of double in, like fold in on itself with the currency. We'll be hype as fuck, because we should be able to grab character dupes starting then, and that'll be when you see your like core characters, the characters that you started with, start to elevate into those 40,000s, 50,000s, etc. Once, you know, you can actually get lucky. As for, should I go level 100 on him? I'm still waiting, mostly. It's a lot of, how much money is it? 50,000. And then it would also be my experience. I haven't really needed him to go level 100. If I'm honest, I've been placing well in events. I've been clearing all the content that they have for me. We'll see. We'll definitely see. That might be a week 3, like, you know, we got Rangiku, we're done with everything, and we have nothing else to spend our stamina on. But for now, I kind of just don't want to. I don't know. I'm kind of scared of spending that stamina, spending the character XP until Rangiku's raised, and I'm just like done. So, yeah, that'll be the last of it. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the club. I've been Lone. Peace.